to top that ever. I do miss Jim. He and I have a hidden agreement now where I will produce the tears from you and he will collect them. He loves to collect those tears in that jug, and I can produce them, so I'm okay with that. So, we have a keynote speaker. He's going to be next. We didn't tell you the details of why he's the keynote speaker. You think you know, but the reality is he's actually here to do not a 1, but a 2-hour lecture in infectious disease. And it's a sad thing that you did not bring your laptops because it's on lockdown browser. So anyway, let me introduce Dr. Basheer Sufyan, keynote speaker. Please welcome.
Good afternoon. So we do have a lot to go over. So I want to start off by welcoming your families and all of you. You guys asked me to speak today at your white coat ceremony, and this humbled me when you asked. It's such a privilege to get to stand in front of you today and to talk to you on this very special day. But I also thought, wow, they're not tired of hearing me talk. I lecture you guys almost every other day. So that made me smile. I thought these guys are not sick of me yet. So good, thank you. So I'm also so honored to be here on this wonderful occasion. I want to begin really by welcoming your families. They have been instrumental in your success. If it wasn't for their patience, you guys would not be here. And you guys are developing into your greatest potential. And this is yet another milestone, and it had not been for your families, you wouldn't be here. So please give yourselves and your families a great round of applause. I commend all of you on how far you have come since the first semester when I introduced you to X-ray interpretation. You guys remember that. This has been further depicted by how well you did yesterday on infectious disease. I am so proud of you guys. That was a lot of comprehensive information, and everyone did well. I went home so happy, and I'm very, very proud of you. Again, give yourselves a round of applause. I'm also certain you guys remember the things that I tell you. I've always repeated things to you, and there's a reason for it. Before we begin class, I've said things to you such as reproducible performance always, right? You guys remember this? This describing professionalism. So you guys hear me, and this will help you in your careers. I also have told you it is not hard, but merely unfamiliar. You remember this too, right? So this is that things that you don't know are not hard. They're just merely unfamiliar to you. And if you invest enough time studying the comprehensive medical knowledge that you have to know, it will become so familiar to you that it's almost like tying your shoes. Because you remember the day your kindergarten teacher or preschool, or even your mom showed you how to tie you were like, this is impossible. I'm never gonna be able to do this. And now you guys are fancy with it, with the 2 loops and everything, right? Similarly, the guy that wrote your Tintinelli's emergency medicine book one day was a student, or the lady, or whoever came together to write that book. They were a student just like you, but they invested so much time in learning the subject that they wrote the book. So always remember that, always remember that. In addition, it's so important to prioritize your time in order that you become so familiar with a given topic that it becomes second nature to you. You guys are going to be performing something that is unlike any other job. You are so privileged that you're going to have healing hands, and you will positively influence the lives of others. So always remember that when you're in the clinic. So in PA school, your didactic phase and your clinical rotations, it's so vital to prioritize your time. As I've been saying, even though you want to do other things, you must tell yourself, I can't, because I have to study. This is your job to be a PA student. You do this while understanding that this will undoubtedly bring to fruition what at times may seem almost impossible to you, right? You feel that way before every exam, but you guys did amazing, right? So always remember that you recognize that with the right dedication, the right passion, this will lead you to success. This mindset of unwavering motivation, where you will continue to invest, it's your time, you're investing in yourself. What better way to invest your time than in yourself, right? So by doing this, you will achieve success. And this success will last you a lifetime. Think about that. This is going to be a success for you and your kids and your kids' kids. So make sure you give it your all. This mindset is what has led you to this point today, to your white coat ceremony. So remember that. So for me, it's been more than a decade since I had my white coat ceremony, but I can close my eyes and vividly remember. I remember the faces of the families, the other students, how excited we were. And I was so proud that day. I had this kind of a feeling of being nervous because I felt like I really didn't know, right? And that I hear it's normal. It is normal. You always have that feeling of, well, I'm putting on this white coat, but I feel like maybe I'm kind of like an actor or maybe an imposter, right? You know, you always hear, fake it till you make it, right? So this, you have to remember, always remains with you if you're a good provider, because this is what's gonna push you to take a moment and think and look up what is the best treatment plan to provide for the most favorable prognosis for your patient. This is not a bad thing. That feeling that you don't know stays and it remains with us all. And that's what makes us good providers, right? So always remember that you have to stay attentive. You have to stay on top of the most relevant evidence-based research, and this will allow you to provide the best care for your patients. Keep this in your hearts anytime you're in a room talking to a patient, and always listen to your patient. That's the key. I've told you before, 80% of the diagnosis comes from pausing and just listening to your patient. There's good reason why the white coat ceremony is not at the end of your education. The white coat represents the qualities of a PA, just like Deb said, right? There's qualities that you guys already possess. These qualities, you know, you see the white coat shows you that you are a person that is a professional, that is trustworthy, that the patients can rely on. Remember, reproducible performance always, right? So you always are going to do the right thing. And this white coat, when the patient sees you, like Deb said, they think that you're more scientific, you're more hygienic, you're more trustworthy. So always remember that when you do put on that coat, that you depict these qualities that you guys have been developing over your whole lives. These qualities are not something that I can test you on an infectious disease exam, or that you can, be proven on an infectious disease exam. These are qualities that you have been developing your whole lifetime, and you're going to begin mastering these qualities, and that starts today. So to give you a little bit of science about the white coat, patient perception is impacted by the provider's attire. They associate with the white coat, like I said, a trustfulness, and they feel more comfortable relaying more sensitive, private, detailed history when you look professional about their illness, which, as we know, leads to the best treatment plan. Furthermore, patients have also reported that a provider wearing a white coat looks more hygienic, scientific, and more depicting of an authority figure that can be relied on. We must understand that the attributes that our white coats convey are what we must always uphold. This is key. You must be ethical. You have to have these unwavering character qualities of professionalism. And you should remember when you're taking care of a person, that person that you're taking care of is just like one of your family members. Always remember that. During your education, you will learn the essentials of medicine, including pharmacology, infectious disease, clinical reasoning, and problem solving, like you've been learning, and how to perform a thorough physical exam, like we've been showing you, right, every Friday. However, we must make note that understanding how disease affects the body's organ systems is only one level of competency. More importantly, we must work to understand how a given illness affects your patient and their families. This is so important. Without a doubt, a good provider must use evidence-based medicine and, using their best judgment, apply that medicine, right, for a given chief complaint. But it's crucial to make sure that your patient, number one, understands the treatment plan and that this care is provided in line with the patient's expectations and their wishes. One treatment plan is not good for every patient, and we've talked about this before. Now, I'm going to conclude. It's not going to be 2 hours. I know Russ said 2 hours. It's not going to be 2 hours. So I will conclude by telling you briefly about Mr. Kopmeyer. So Mr. Kopmeyer is a contemporary academic in the field of leadership studies who authored 4 books. In each of his books, he has 250 principles that teach you how to be successful. So 4 times 250, 1,000 principles that this man developed over his lifetime, and he lived 90 years. right? So I'm not trying to get you to read these books. I know you have a lot to read. But I do want to make mention of something that he said in an interview. So Kopmeyer was asked, out of these 1,000 principles, in your estimation, what is the most important one for one of us to achieve success? And he gave a very clear, concise answer. Listen to this. Even if you haven't listened to me the whole time I've been talking, listen to this. He said, all the 999 principles that I have included in my 4 books are useless without this one principle, if it's not present in your life. He said, it is the principle that says, do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. This is what it means to be a professional. So always remember that. Reproducible performance, always. Doesn't matter if you're not feeling up to it. Doesn't matter if you're tired. Doesn't matter if you feel bad. Regroup, get yourself feeling better. Keep the sun shining always in your heart. You remember I always tell you that. Doesn't matter how dark it is outside. You are there for your patients and you have to keep that sun shining in your heart, right? So this is what it means to be a professional and will make you successful in everything you do in your life. If it becomes your unwavering standard, this has to be a part of your paradigm. If you hold on to this paradigm while you put on your white coats today, this will keep you adherent to the unspoken contract of honor, respect, trust, confidentiality. You will always be mindful of punctuality, showing up on time, ethics, integrity, and reliability. These are all the things your white coat represents. Always remember this. Thank you for your time.
Wow, did you guys pick the right speaker or what?